Hi, everyone. Yeah, ESG rating. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So I guess it's the green one to move forward. So anyway, the net zero by 2050, that's a bit of a challenge. As Big Get was putting it, reducing greenhouse gas by 2050 to almost zero, net zero, let's put it this way. It's going to be the hardest things humanity will have to deal with. There are multiple challenges, as you know. We are a bit of a fossil energy junkies, to be true. All companies, organizations, society, everything is organized around this, and it's going to be really hard to change this. But the good news is that it's possible. It's going to be possible if we are doing three things happen. Three things. First, and we see it here, breakthrough innovation. NOAH conference is a great example of all the great things that can come up, to help decarbonizing the society, to reduce carbon footprint. Others will work on, energy efficiency or carbon capture. But breakthrough innovation will be one of the critical components for this objective of 2050 net zero. The second thing is going to be around new regulation. The good old days of Adam Smith have passed, really. There are new challenges that we are facing that require urgent actions. Without regulation, it's going to be a challenge, despite what some may think. And we know that there are some economies that really are not in favor of this, others that have been pushing this. If you look at the EU, they have led the path on regulatory framework around ESG, broadly. The outcome is we have an economic network today with companies that are quite mature on the subject. If you look at rating all over the world, European companies are really good at that, and across the board, not only in environment, not only in social, not only in business ethics, but across the board. So regulation can do good. There will be price on carbon that's going to arise. There will be maybe taxes as well. There are going to be new regulation in the making that's going to be published, by the way, at the beginning of January, like the taxonomy, which will expand globally. US, China, UK, everyone is working on their own vision of the taxonomy. So it's going to happen. The third things that need to happen is to proceed on a major shift for B2B trade practices. And there are many things that can be done here, many things. Of course, circular economy is one. But if we look at the supply chain and focus on the supply chain, you will see how powerful is this. So these are the three conditions. But of course, if you want things to move faster and move and happen, you need something else. You know what? Maybe one of you know. Shall I give you a hint? And maybe you shout it loud if you know what it is. You got it. That's what we need. And of course, everybody knows that. Government have been putting in place through the net positive green stimulus of the green plan, a lot of billions out on the market, 500 billion to be accurate. They're going to finance subsidies, loan, investment, 500 billion, massive investment. And look at what happened in the ESG funds arena. 1 trillion. 1 trillion. This is astonishing. The move toward ESG fund is very impressive. But there is also another area where money can help and decision can help. 90% of the global B2B exchange are actually happening through the supply chain. And if you look at the supply chain of corporation, we know that there are like more than 5 million suppliers, 5 millions that are working with the largest corporation around this world. These are impacting potentially 450 million workers, and it represents in value more than $13 trillion. And this is only for the 500 largest companies of this world. So you imagine if you expand it further, it's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity, especially when you understand that the split of natural capital cost between what is happening within the organization compared to what is happening in their supply chain, it's largely, very largely happening in the supply chain for most of the industries. This graph is showing how it is splitted per industry. So according to BCG, the emission, are on average 11.4 times higher in the supply chain than what you have on your own operation. So supply chain should and must be a strong focus, not only for the environmental aspect, it's also for the broader ESG aspect, but the supply chain are responsible for 90% of the industrial environmental impacts. So that's not little, obviously. There are many people impacted all over the world. We have 16 million individuals that are still trapped in forced labor, and there are 8 of all the industries that are accounting for 50% of the global emissions. So there is a lot to be done here. We at EcoVadis, we are assisting those large organizations and the suppliers to get better at this. It's a two-sided game, if you will. In one side, you have the large corporation or the corporation that have procurement that want to make sure that they drive their spending in the right direction. And on the other hand, you have all the companies that are working with those larger corporations that don't really know where to start for a large part of them. And our job is to help those guys to really understand where the risks are. How can they find in their entire supply chain opportunities? We are assessing those suppliers. We are assessing those companies all over the world to, give a performance level of their management system in corporate social responsibility. It's an evidence-based process. So by doing so, we are able to monitor and track their improvement, but also providing them with materials to improve, like learning, corrective action plan, analytics that they can look at on the platform in order to get better at this. And last but not least, we need to report what can be measured, can be managed, and if you can report for the regulatory framework sometime, for the regulation, or just for setting objective, decarbonization objective, this is something that we are addressing in our offering. And this ESG are performance or rating are used primarily in the procurement world, but they are also used for investors to manage their portfolio, private equity in particular, to manage their portfolio. They are also used for bank to grant loans, and the loans rate will be evolving depending on the performance level of the organization. And public procurement is also using this kind of solution. So, in very, very briefly, we are covering 160 countries, around 1,000 people. We are producing 130,000 scorecards, growing at a very fast rate, 45% this year, 51% probably next year. It's not SpaceX, but it's going really to the moon. And basically, we are helping the world, the economy, to transition towards a more sustainable world by giving them the tools and the information that allow them to make the right choice when they are spending their procurement dollars. Thank you very much.